What is the most amount of money that you can make in Maplestory in 2025? Well, I remember when I first started playing Maplestory, I always had the question, what is the max amount of money that I can actually make per week? And in this video, we're going to be going over everything to answer every question you may have about what the maximum amount of money is that you can actually make in Maplestory. Of course, there are a ton of ways to make money and everybody is at different points in the game, but specifically in this video, we're going to be asking the question, what is the max amount of money an end game player can make? We're going to be splitting this video into two parts, one divided by bossing and bossing mules, and the other divided by training, as these are the two most common and most efficient ways to make money. I do want to make a point as well that most people are not going to be at this point in the game, and most people may never actually get to this point in the game, and that is totally okay. This is just a video to show you what the most amount of money that you can make in a week in Maplestory in 2025 would be. So with that being said, let's get right into the video. Now, of course, everybody knows that bossing mules is the most efficient way to actually make money in Maplestory. But in this video, we're going to be splitting the bossing up into three parts. One distributed between your main, your Cteny bossing mules, and your Lotus bossing mules. So with that being said, essentially, let's go over how much money you can make bossing every single week in Maplestory as a fully maxed out endgamer. So essentially, you can sell 180 crystals per week with a maxed out amount of 14 per character. So the way that we are going to be breaking this down is, one, you're going to have your main. And then for your Cteny mules, assuming that you are working on the Legion Champion mule, you're going to have 6 Cteny mules and you are going to have 6 hard Lotus farmers. So with that being said, let's take a look at what bossing would look like on your main and how much money you would actually make per week as an end game player in Maplestory. Now, assuming you would be trioing hard limbo and you would be killing all of the bosses in the game from Extreme Kalos, Extreme Saren, hard calling, and all the way down to C Pap. Assuming you would be trioing hard limbo and killing these other more difficult bosses in a 6-man party, your grand total per week would come down to 9.1 bill per week. Now, this is assuming that you're doing Extreme Kalos, Extreme Saren, and hard calling in a 6-man party, and you are doing hard limbo in a 3-man party, and you are soloing everything from Extreme Lotus all the way down to C Pap. Now, of course, like I said earlier in the video, this number is going to change from player to player at the end game, depending on how many people they are running with in a party to kill these bosses. But like I said before, for the sake of the video, we're just going to be assuming that you are killing all of these bosses solo, 6-man, and 3-man. So now that we've gone over the main and how much money the main is going to week from bossing alone, let's go into the Cteny mules. Now, I'm assuming that you're going to have around 6 Cteny mules as a fully maxed out character because, like I stated earlier in the video, Legion Champion system is coming up and there is a total of 6 Legion Champion characters that you can make. So let's talk about what bosses you'll be doing and how much money you'll actually be making on the Cteny boss mules. So on the Cteny boss mules, you'll be killing everything from Vihilla, Sea Gloom, Hard Lucid, Hard Damien, Hard Darknell, Hard Will, Sea Slime, Akechi, Sea Pap, Vellum, Magnus, Bonbon, Pierre, and Hard Lotus. Now, like I said before, this is a Cteny boss mule, so you will be soloing every single one of these bosses, and this is going to give you a grand total of 5.1 bill per week. Now, assuming that you do have 6 of these, that is going to bring your grand total up to 30.6 bill per week. Now, I know it may seem very outlandish to have 6 Cteny mules, especially if you are newer to the game or even at the late or end game, or even just entering the late game. In the future, if you are an end game player, you most likely will have 6 Cteny mules because of the Legion Champion system. Now, Cteny mules didn't used to always be the most efficient way to make money, but due to crystal prices and the meta shifting, this absolutely will be the meta in the near future. So now that we've gone over your main, and now that we've gone over your Cteny mules, let's go over your hard Lotus mules and how much money you'll actually make doing these hard Lotus mules every single week. Now, assuming we had our main and 6 Cteny mules, that is going to leave us with 6 more boss mules to do for the entire week. You're going to be soloing everything from hard Lotus to normal Damien, easy Lucid, Vellum, Magnus, Von, Pierre, Queen, normal Slime, Akechi, CPAP, normal Cygnus, Pino, and Czak. And this is going to bring your grand total up to 2 bill per week. Now, assuming you have 6 of these hard Lotus mules, which of course, if you are a fully maxed out endgame account, you will, this is going to bring your grand total up to 12 bill misos per week. Now let's just add up the total number of misos per week from every single character, assuming you are getting 9.1 bill on your main, 30.6 bill on your Cteny mules, and 12 bill from your hard Lotus mules. That is going to bring our grand total up to 51.6 bill per week just from doing our bossing. But like I stated in the beginning of the video, that is not the only way you are going to make money as an endgame character. And this is where things get a bit subjective because of course not everybody is farming the exact same amount. So for the sake of the video, I'm just going to be assuming that somebody at the absolute end game and pushing the maximum amount of misos per week is going to be farming about 3 wops per day. Now, of course, maybe you could argue that somebody's farming more or even less, but we're just going to go somewhere in the middle of where I think that the average end gamer would fall in terms of how much they would be farming per week. So assuming you're going to be making 700 mil per hour, that is going to bring your total up to 1.4 bill per wop. So assuming you are farming 3 wops per day, that is going to be 4.2 bill per day. And assuming you are farming 6 days per week, because 1 day is going to be set aside for bossing, you're going to be farming a total of 25.2 bill per week. Now, assuming you're doing all your bossing per week and you are farming 3 wops per day, this is going to bring your grand total up to 76 bill per week. Now, assuming you continue to do this, this is going to bring your total to 304 bill per month and 3.6 T per year, which is an absolutely absurd amount of money. Now, like I said earlier in the video, not everybody is going to be at this point in the game, and not everybody is going to potentially even get to this point in the game ever. But it is something cool to look at and kind of understand how much money you actually could be making every single week with an absolutely maxed out endgame account. And of course, everybody has their own way of playing the game, and I absolutely am not saying you have to play the game like this, but it's just something cool to look at to see what you could actually make every single week if you absolutely maxed out your account. But with that being said, that is going to answer the question of how much money you can make per week in Maplestory in 2025. But with that being said, guys, that is going to wrap up the rest of the video for today. And until next time, I'll see you guys in the next one. Take it easy. Peace.